My name is Theodore Cottingham, and I am raising up me. Me of another race, or me of you that think you can be you now, coming into another land, another set of values, another consciousness. I'm asking you to be the real you this day. The real you that me is in a suit of love, a love suit. No matter what your body looks like, no matter what your physique is, no matter what someone else thinks of you, whether you feel loved or not, whether you feel accepted or not, whether you feel isolated, depressed, discouraged, or gleeful. I'm asking you to look in your mirror and see what God is, or what a lot of us thought God would be or God was, or allowing ourselves to see now the energy of God, the consciousness of God, the love of God, the power of love in common people of every nation, tribe, and tongue. These are the people that I'm raising up. And how am I doing it? Well, I'm not sure I am doing it with the letter I that denotes an isolated individual, but I am one. I am one interconnected with one. I am one interconnected with one made up of many ones who are all equal. I am one mind. I am one mind that shields not itself from itself anymore. I am the love of God in two shoes. I am the Christ. I am the lover. I am the leader. Leading it, leading love to love, for love to lead, for love to know who it is that love is in your shoes too, with a mind of one. You see, we've been so ingrained in teaching that has separated us from ourselves. It's created a dichotomy. It's created wars and war with our own mind. But the mind of God is one. O-N-E. The mind of God is one single one, made up of many single ones that are all interconnected, that no longer fight each other, that no longer resist their grace, their beauty. So I'm asking you to behold your beauty this day, to see you who you really are, no matter what your mirror seems to say to you, no matter what the behavior of others seem to indicate to you. You see, the battle is not against flesh and blood. The battle, the war in heaven, is between your ears. The battle is for the temple not made with hands, not a molecular one. The thought realm, the realm of the real, the quantum. Beyond the quantum, beyond God, is real. As flesh people, we've been taught we need God, that there is a God, and that God made this place, and that God made us. And so many of us think we're to hang around in powerlessness and wait for God to do his thing. I suggest to you, we've been sold a bill of goods. We've been duped. We've been people who have assumed that the people teaching us knew more than we did. We assumed they were authorized. They had credibility. They had authority. Oh, they were more intelligent. They were more wise. They had a college degree. Oh, they went to seminary. Oh, they did this, they did that, they. But my friend, you are at the center of this. What I am talking about, you, my friend, you are at the center. And it's a responsibility that you cannot abdicate. You cannot abdicate it. You cannot abdicate your throne. You can ignore it, but you can't abdicate who you really are. Who you really are is Christ. Or wait a minute. If we're talking in the concepts of truth, God is God no matter what we call God. We may have the wrong name for God, but whatever God is, whatever God does, whatever the existence of God is, still exists, right? But what if God, what we've called God, what we've attributed to God, is not the heart of God at all? What if religion has given us the image of God? No matter what religion you choose to speak about or be knowledgeable about or devote yourself to, what if it's all wrong? What if religion was never God's heart? Doesn't seem like to me Jesus taught much about religion. In fact, he revised the law. He revised the priesthood. He revised certain rules. He brought a lot of revision, and he brought division. And you do too, if you're the real you. Because you will no more divide and conquer you from God. Or will you no longer need a God figure to unite yourself with or let speak? I have taught many times in these 21 years. So many times I said, I teach. I surrendered to speak the first person words of God in a stream, the energy of light, love, and peace. I call it the energy of God, most recently, in recent times. And when I first started this school again, I call it the School of God. And even now, through all of my teaching, my flowing, the first person words of God, the energy that is light, love, and peace has taught me. And I recorded about it. I recorded my path because I have learned this path. I have learned through these things that I record. I record to learn. I'm still in school. I'm teaching me to be me. I'm calling forth the real me of the one mind of Christ, God, that now begins to understand before God was, we were. We were that which we have called God before God existed as a mental construct. to keep us here, sitting here, worshiping another, doing some rites, rituals, trying to please pastors, preachers, religions, some kind of cultural protocol. Be worthy to get a degree, please the professor, this, that, and the other. Always striving, trying so damn hard. So hard, striving, wanting to be better, wanting to do this, wanting to have more to eat, wanting acceptance, wanting to be looked up by someone else. All of this ego-driven stuff is coming to an end. All of the soul manner is coming to an end. And that which is, from before the beginning began, is now beginning to know the real itself, its own consciousness. The consciousness of God before God is coming alive. And that's the real me. That you are not shielded from your purpose, no longer living for another. I ask you to live for you. The real you, the you that love is, you that love each other equally of every nation, tribe, and tongue. You're no longer looking at the physique or physical characteristics to limit you or your love. You begin to recognize love for what it is, transcendent of time, space, and gravity. My gosh. Learning to live love is quite an adventure. Learning to love is an exploration in learning you, the real you, to be you. To stop operating by the dictates of another or the expectations of your wife, your husband, your employer, your religion. You see, the real you is not incomprehensible. The real you is the mind of the infinite, not separated anymore into a little corner of your skull or the aura of your energy or whatever you think you are or define yourself as. For the state of God is being the state of God again. The interconnected me, the mind of the infinite. One God, one mind. One consciousness. Not worried about syllables that seem to define something from a set of words you used to call New Age, or you called, oh, that's cultish, or that's religionless, or that's godless, or that's this, that, and the other, because the mind of the ego is always condemning, always at war, always trying to put itself in its proper position, not, but to usurp the real you. The real you should not be at war with you, but religion doesn't teach that. Religion sets forth the boundaries of who you love, why you love, and what you do, what book you value, how you spend your life, and what your values are. I'm asking you to rise above all that. I'm asking you to resurrect in your kingdom. Your kingdom of thought. Thought kingdom, kingdom of love. Will you be love and love with love this time, rather than physique and characteristics, which promulgate, promote, propel your ego to only want more? You see, there's more to love than has been lived. There's more to love than what we've been taught, because we haven't been taught to love. We haven't been taught to live. We've been taught to obey the rules, live in the matrix, like Neo. But thankfully, there was a Morpheus who looked for Neo. Great imagery. Great allegory. Great stories that I suggest may have a truth that you can learn from, that you can apply, that you can glean from, learning to be gleaners in the path of the exploration of you, the real you, the adventure of you, to venture into the last frontier, the final frontier. Are you willing to go where no man has gone? Are you willing to go where no woman has gone? Are you willing to go where no flesh has gone? Taking your flesh off before you die? Learning to resurrect from the flesh? Without death demanding your energy? Will you no longer be energy thwarted by you? Will you defeat death? Will you become a newborn you? Will you live in love? Will you explore you? Will you determine for yourself these things that I am teaching you, sharing with you, offering you this day? As a pastor, a lover, a Christ, so that you will be Christ too. So there will be one. Millions of ones. One of millions will you be the real you. That needs not just the power of the dollar to live. Are you willing to enter your kingdom? Are you willing to love each other? Not just for looks or what someone can do for you, or whether they're inside what you think the boundaries are of religion or something that has circumscribed you, your life to date. I'm asking you to grow up. I'm asking you to be the real me, to learn love, and let love teach you what love really is. And love is powerful. And my love is more powerful than your hate. Some may hate me for this message because they don't want to live in love. They want to love their belief. They want to love their religion. They want to love their holy books and massage it, think about it, and let it provide their comfort in the midst of their chaos that they have become so complacent in. They don't even know the difference and realize they are at war with themselves. But the energy of one is coming forth, and it looks like me in your mirror. Common people. A lot of old people will do powerful things now because they have given up on loving other and living to die. And they will begin to realize heaven is adorned in them who will open the door to their kingdom, and their kingdom is between their ears, and they are the only one that can do so and walk that path. Will it be you? Will you open the path of light for people, or do you just want their dollars? You just want their attention, their attendance? You want to control people? Much will change now because the simple will arise, not being simpletons anymore, being gullible, naive, and controlled by others. There is no God to serve. We have thought in serving God we were doing something to please God that was necessary for us. But as we arise, as we begin to see the oneship of Christ, we begin to realize and think it not robbery to be equal with God, and begin to commune with God in a manner as a child, to let God teach us directly that we are what we were before time began, before this planet existed, and that God is a state of mind, a state of existence, not dependent on neutrons, protons, and electrons. I have told you much, shared much. I've asked a number of questions. And the real question, are you willing to be you? You that thinks not as religion has taught you to think, not as DNA has programmed you. Are you willing to think without thought controlling you? And how do you do that? Thought, let me say, that I'm speaking of this way is produced by the ego, the operation of your neurons, your mind, your brain, your flesh being, your mortal enemy, or just the mortar of your flesh. But there's an energy yet abounding all around us. And the energy that I'm talking about is not dependent upon the energy of waves. Classical physics does not rule the world that I'm asking you to come into and not be an observer, but the leader of your kingdom, the kingdom of your thought, the temple not made with hands between your ears. Leaders will arise now. And do things you never imagined. Walk on water. Turn water into wine. All those were examples that Jesus gave us. Jesus is our pattern. He became the first Christ. And believe me, he won't be a Christian, wasn't one, will never be one, Christianity divides you from Christ. It divides you from the real you. Oh, this is that, and you must do this and that, and you must say these words and do these things. My friend, come to your senses and realize that which birthed you, created you. Not in flesh, but before you were flesh, before the world existed, that which you are, that which you were, that which you can be timeless again, understanding the communication of the communion of one, where you begin to surrender, and the love that speaks will teach you in your heart, where you begin to learn and appropriate appropriately the words that refashion you and your cosmos again to not be limited. And this is the message of God this day to you, to come into your kingdom, to light love and love light, to not worry about people's physique or their cultural propensities. I'm asking you not to be the preponderance of love. I'm asking you to be the summary judgment and declare everyone Christ if they will be it. Because the energy of the Christian divides, but the energy of God makes one consciousness and does not control it, does not condemn it, but says, come be me. Come be me. Come do the things I enjoy, because you're not separate. Be the one mind again, the mind that heals, the healing of mankind to no more be led astray by religion. I love you and I go now. And I am not powerless, because I am love. I am love in two shoes. I am love in two shoes Kadikam. Asking you to be love in two shoes. You, not powerless either. Common people doing the miracles now will no longer sit in a pew and be vomited on by the ignorance of those who are blind, trying to lead the blind to be more blind, waiting on God, serving plates of religion, plates of condemnation, wafers and crackers saying someone else did all this for you. Buddy, you do it yourself. You have a responsibility to be you. Serve no God. Have no God before you. This is a different message, eh? Coming alive? I am. I am. I am. I'm speaking to I am. I'm raising up I am. A children of light who think not to inherit it or go to it somewhere else, but surrender to be led by law no more, but love. And love is not powerless. Love, my friend, is not fragile. And love, my friend, does not have an on-off switch. Love is cultivated. Love is grown. The tree of life in your garden, between your ears, the consciousness of God, understanding the allegories, understanding the messages, and the power of love. I ask you to walk in the power that accepts you as you. The power of love that adorns you, where you begin to enter your temple. You begin to enter your temple not made with hands. The real you? Yes, the energy of God. God energy, not separate. That condemns it not, but says, come be me. Commune with me. And let what? Let your body be broken for you? Let not your thoughts condemn you. You begin to learn to control your mind, or your mind controls you. The monkey mind, the mind of flesh, the egoic mind, the mind of your ego, wants to supplant the word of the living, the flowing, dynamic, operational, that operationalizes it now in the activities of one, not needing the locus of approval of other to stomp it out. I tell you, it's all different now. I lead leaders to lead. My name is Theodore. If you want to sit on a pew, I'm not your man. You have responsibility to love you and love each other, and to know your power. I'm not looking for wimps. I'm not looking for people that just want a message to affirm what they think they know, where they can sit in their air-conditioned comfort and be so complacent, give their money and think they can control their lives, and that they'll go to heaven sometime somewhere else because Jesus did it all for them. That message is blown up now. So a lot of people may not like me, may not like you. But they don't control you anymore. You learn to think yourself with an energy that's not programmed into you by them. You decide what you believe. You decide who you are. No longer saying, who am I? Why am I here on earth? Why was I born? Who am I? Who are you? Why are we here? Who created us? Or did we evolve? Were we monkeys? Friends, there's much more to the story, and the story is not hidden from you. And you are not limited to the truth of mankind's mind, for you are connected to the mind of God that exists and existed before this earth existed. It's an energy of not failure. It's an energy of peace that walks through war. Because if you begin to see peace, you begin to experience war? Or will others who used to love you come against you and say, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that? Controllers are everywhere, controlling people by words, by efforts, by intimidation. If you want to know who you are, you'll probably have to slay some giants. Not in flesh, but gigantic opinions, gigantic images that sometimes make you feel like grasshoppers in their sight. You think so many other people are powerful, but I declare your power null and void, no more. I ask you to arise in the power of light, love, and peace. I ask you to begin to let love teach you directly, not dependent upon me, not dependent upon my flesh, not dependent upon my words, but the energy of God before God existed as a deity that we think we worship or praise or must comply with the dictates of someone who said they had his words. Before God was, I am. The most humble. Learn to say this now. See, before God existed, I did. In your mirror, you saying this. You are raising the Christ, not dependent upon religion, not fashioned by religion. You are becoming one with the God mind, the mind of God, the eternal infinite again, if you will be. So, humble enough to learn to let law rule you no more. In the words that says, there's a kingdom of God, but you don't fashion yours. Somebody's done it for you, this, that, and the other. No. You walk right through the flames of the fire of their thought. But the flames of the fire of their thoughts no longer consume you. And you choose whether you will come out, even though they become more vociferous, greater in number, and 7 times louder than they've ever been. They no more control you. For the energy of God lights love, and love lights law no more. The energy of God energizes God to be it, whether you call it God or not. Syllables no more control the energy of God. I'm asking you to be light in your own shoes and think it not strange for you to be called an enemy of God or a lover of Satan or anything else when you truly want to know who you are and you begin walking outside of the curtain of the veil of flesh. But my friend, Jesus did. And he was hated, and you may be. But the time is now. This is the regeneration. Oh, it's apocalyptic for some. It's the end of the world. For some, because they wanted it like it was. They wanted it like they were taught it would be. They wanted it in their complacency. They wanted it in their continuation of their ignorance, because they didn't go in. Go in? They didn't enter their kingdom, their promised land, when it was between their ears. All they did is suffuse it, diffuse it, differentiate it. They just doctrinated it, and they doctored it up. And they let law live them instead of them living love. It all changes now. And the weak will say, I am strong, but not in the power of his might, but in the power of mine. Me, not in flesh. The power of the God mind. The real you that you've always been connected to. You've never been without what God is, whether you call it God or not, no matter what you name it, no matter what your syllables describe it as. Love loves love. Love begets love, and love destroys love no more by its ignorance. The ignorant sit in a pew. The ignorant worship God, devote their lives to studying a book. I know, I've done it. I spent decades doing it. And somehow or other, through love began to nudge me with thoughts like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more than Christianity. There's got to be more than what's in that book. There's got to be more. And finally, I began to cry out with an intensity of utter desperation. Said, I want to know you, God. And I will do what it takes. I will pay the price. I don't know what the price is. I had no idea. I had no idea. I was about to walk through the world of turmoil that went upside down when I decided I was going to know God for myself intimately, whatever the cost. And there's a great cost in time, effort and energy, time, effort, and surrender. When you want to be who you really are, you come as a child. Otherwise, you're just putting up barriers. If you want to know God, but you only want God to speak to you, confirming what you think you know about your Bible or some book or the way you lived, forget it. If you're worried about the judgment of God, forget it. Have no fear of God. The God energy I'm talking about comes before you and literally bows before you. And says, take up your cross no more. Be who you are. Enter my kingdom. I give you me. Be the energy that I am. Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus. Let the Jesus mind, the God mind, the Father mind, the Mother mind, the New Age mind, the unreligious mind, the mind that doesn't even need the syllables which we are communicating with, but an energy that in fact is riding, R-I-D-I-N-G, riding on these words. Do you feel it? You may or may not. And I'm certainly not trying to conjure something up. I'm a simple guy. I'm a simple man in Eureka Springs, almost 73 this year. I paid a price for what I know. And you will too if you become the real you. Because what you're laying down is the veil. You're taking the veil down. That you used to say, oh, I was different. God is separate, this, that, and the other. Heaven is somewhere else. And you have all these thoughts that create all these images. And it's painful to begin dismantling that which you have built up in the imagery of our mind. The ego goes crazy. The ego says, who do you think you are? There are giants in the land. But the biggest giant of all, doubt, fear, and unbelief, there's no Satan, friends, roaming around as a lion to devour you. It's simply the concept, the image of fear to keep you in your place. Heaven and hell, a concept. But there's so much more to the story. I can't teach it all in one sitting. I can't share everything I've been given in 21 years in 1 hour. But I'm surrendering to be me. And the more I become me, the more joy I have in sharing with you, encouraging you, compelling you to be the real you, and realize that whatever war you go through in your mind, whatever flames you feel from the words of other people, will not defeat you. When you know who you are, or you want to, when you want to know who you are, that answers the question, who am I? When you want to know who you are and become who you are, and you will be doing the miracles Jesus did and more, because you will have been created no longer by the words of another authority outside of your kingdom not made with hands, it's between your ears. Okay? I love you. I go now. I'm not a pastor, a preacher, or am I? I'm just simply me. And I've decided to be me. And I'm being me, increasingly me, sharing with you, asking you to be the real you, in light, love, peace, and joy, creating your own, because you are the creator of you. And when you begin to surrender to learn that you are the creator of you, and you begin to choose and operating in your own authority, the snakes of other opinions, even if you pick them up and you look at those ideas and those concepts, they cannot harm you. And you will walk over those snakes and those giants that come against you and say, who do you think you are? You're unworthy. You're a fool. You're going to die. You're going to spend eternity in hell. Won't defeat you anymore. You can walk through the flames of that fiery furnace. You can walk over the serpents of other opinions. And you do so as a little child. A little child who begins to learn that what God is, what we have called God, what I'm calling God now, the energy of God before God was a deity constructed in our imaging mind, says, come be me. And caressingly kisses you, hugs you, puts the king's robe around you, heals your wounds, and there's the birth of a king. That's you, a newborn, birthed again. And that's what the new birth is. This is what the new birth explained is. And new birthed, wearing the king's robe, you don't have a separate mind. And you walk in peace, peace that passes all understanding. and you begin doing all the things that Jesus did and more and more. You, you can heal every person in a hospital and empty it. And so many people will hate you because you messed up their revenue. But you love, and you decide to live love. You decide to love love, and love live. This is my message today. Thank you for letting me share with you. Thank you for caring about your power, your might, your joy, your peace. Please begin to learn not to redeem your soul. Soul is center of the ego. Don't redeem it. Become who you really are, not needing that energy, no longer needing redemption, no longer needing vicarious atonement, no longer needing forgiveness of sins, but becoming forgetful no more of who you really are, who you were before time, before any other authority existed to tell you you weren't God. You were what we've called it. We have become that which we loved, that love is, if we learn to let love speak and teach us directly to wear the crown of life and come into it to be who we really are. And that's who you are. And that's why I ask you to look into your mirror this day and be the real you. And learn to let the teacher, I used to call it the Holy Spirit. I used to this, that, and the other. So I've been all kind of terms for it in different religions. But the real you is the energy of the perfect me. The me that loves each other equally, heals each other's children, and no longer shuns the outcast. Because we are no longer creating hell here. We are walking heaven in our shoes, becoming the love of light, the people of peace, no longer limited to breath. Okay, Theodore Cottingham with the School of Me. And I'm asking you to be a me, a royal me, a loving me, a me that loves each other, a me, the mind of God, that all interconnects and loves each other equally and begins a community of peace. I'm Theodore Cottingham in Eureka Springs, a simple guy. Enjoy this day, and every time you look in your mirror, see the real you. Begin to think, ponder, like Mary did. Begin the birthing process, the adventure, exploring the unfathomable riches of the unknowable God that is no longer held unknowable. There's no mystery of Christ any longer. There's the surrender of a child to become the king. And that's what I'm asking you to be. Thank you. Thank you again. I love you. Theodore Cottingham, theschoolofme.com. Subscribe, love me, live me. I love you all. Good day. See ya.